Um, so it gives me fantastic pleasure to introduce Antoine. I had the absolute privilege of going to where Antoine is building a film lab in Brittany in November. And what he is actually doing in the work is he is making the possible actual. Everything he's doing is turning up and changing the way that filmmaking is being done across Europe and screenwriting is being done. It's phenomenally successful, and it's the change that we keep saying we want to see in the world, and he's doing it. So to hear about that, I think it's a massive privilege for us to have him here. Thank you ever so much, and I'll hand over to you, Antoine. Thank you.
So thank you for having me here. I'm discovering your network, and I find it really truly beautiful. So maybe I will give you first of all a bit of context so that you understand how come we came up with these methods or tools. So myself, I come from a background in being a sailor, into mathematics, into then starting a PhD in philosophy that I interrupted when I discovered the job of a screenwriter. That day, it was like, I was eating with my characters. And instead of trying to be clever, I was trying to be alive. I mean, I'm still completely into philosophy, which is the reason why all of this is happening, I believe. So how did it work and who are we? This is the place where Wendy came a few months ago. It's in Brittany. It's on the seaside, just facing Cork, in a way. We feel we are very much closer culturally to the Irish than we are to people from Paris, maybe. You know, we are like, who are these people? When they come to our village, it's like, what the fuck? So that's easy to say when you're in Ireland. Not always easy to say. This is the landscape. It has an importance because over there, you don't do anything without the landscape, like surrounding you, invading you, feeding you. And these are writers. These are writers working. And these are writers working. Among them, there's one of them is going to become a grand prize in Cannes, and another one a golden camera. And so huge beaches, which has been for us opening the possibility to try to see whether a study that I think has been generated in Cambridge, was it true or not? The fact that when the body is in movement in space, it accelerates the rate of new synaptic connections. And fuck yes, it's for screenwriters, you have to represent yourself the fact that a normal screenwriter is somebody who's working like this, who has a lot of back trouble and feels very lonely and often very depressed because there's nobody to give them feedback, and it's just writing and writing and writing. And so the first revolution has been, guys, we're going to walk. So that has been tremendous for us. It sounds silly, especially for people like you, but for us, for screenwriters, it's been like, these are, so this is when you have to find new paths in your story. This is when you have to be inventive. And this is when you have to find the right word, right? You stabilize your motion, and then the talk continues on the beach to get more precise once you have found ideas. So it's a place completely dedicated to story development and script development. Created, we are not an institution. We were fed up a bunch of screenwriters like me that were working internationally as script consultants, meaning helping others to generate their stories, to rewrite, to rethink. We were most of the time paid by institutions that had no clue about the real thing that we were doing with these people. So we decided to create a place that was run by screenwriters so that every piece of methodological evolution that was possible, we could try it, so that we could experiment all the time, take notes. Every time we miss something, every time we are joyful of a new discovery, it has to be taken into account for the future experiences. So it's been 18 years ago. It's a bit more than that now, and it's well over 200 writers per year. It's not just to show off the numbers, but it's just to tell you that it gives us a high level of possibilities to experiment new stuff every year. Every week we experiment. Because these are people that come to us for long periods of time, right? So 200, for us, it's a lot. And so the whole village is organized around these writers. If you go to the grocery store, they will ask you about your secondary character. You know, it really is. And all the village, we tell the stories to the villagers, meaning that villagers have become really, because we don't want, professionals to give us feedbacks. It's like we are here supposed to be talking to humans. So let's call humans, and they come to us, and we send that. There's one newspaper in the village which is like the Bible. Everybody reads it. I mean, as if people were reading the Bible, but. So it means that when we want to have people from the village, we put an article in the newspaper, and then the whole village is coming to us to just listen to the stories. So we are highly privileged to have such a village around us, and the village is by the sea, surrounded by these landscapes. So it means that, yes, I have to go quickly. So the whole thing is completely run by people that are obsessed with generating new stories. And why are we obsessed? Because we've been too, in a way, destroyed, and our kids with it, by an American vision of storytelling that is completely, which is kind of not in a good shape right now, which is good, superhero movies after 20 years of serving the same meal. It not only generated Trump, but it also generates a kind of apathy also. So we have become an applied research center for story development, cinema, series, documentary, immersive cinema, video games. And now the thing is, with the stuff that I will tell you, we have people from the field of education, from the field of ecology, etc., that are asking us to coach them with our techniques so that they can use it. So, which is the reason why I'm so excited to discover among new people that are like completely into the fields that we are obsessed with. So we're going to have a lot to talk about in the bus or in the... So how did it work? We started with the international feature film, then immersive cinema, then documentaries, then less is more, which is our big international, European project. Less is more is for us really important. It's like, guys, let's stop this game of spoiled kids, which means that you make a better film if you generate a higher rate of extras, of shots, of visual effects, etc. Let's go back to reduce to intensify. And that has been generating for us a movement. We've been generating with a lot of countries in Europe workshops to push this idea and to boost ideas. So we generated workshops which aim is not to develop scripts, but expand possibilities around ideas, despite the fact that we help writers to reduce the means that are needed. And that has been pushing us because we created something within these workshops. We came up with the idea that every workshop had to be run not by the brain of a master. We have to get rid of masters. You all know that. But we need to have two brains that are completely heterogeneous to each other, running the show for a group of writers. Meaning that we are looking at the bios of good screenwriters. Like, if we can find a way to combine a screenwriter that did a PhD in astrophysics and another one that used to be a psychoanalyst, it's great. Like combining metaphors that are completely different. And so that it's a dialogue between them, so that it's never, this is the truth, this is what you have to write. It has to be, maybe look through the window. You can open something. Maybe through the chimney. Yeah. And this has pushed us. The fact that, and Vlad has been one of the researchers invited, like Wendy, that was 3 years ago, and this was last year. The idea was because we were lucky enough to combine brains of screenwriters. Screenwriters are interesting people, they're not actors. They're not people that want to be seen. They are people that have, most of the time, interesting paths of life, and that start to want to write scripts when they're 35 or sometimes 50, or, you know, meaning that they come with a heavy luggage of what they've been doing before. So it's very easy for us to pick a screenwriter of very good level who has a background in like biology or whatever you want, you know. So that has created a miracle for us. Every week we were combining brains and looking how we debriefed with people with such different backgrounds. And the quality of the debriefs, we were like, fuck, we cannot keep that for ourselves. So, because people thought we were telling how beautiful it was brainstorm with such different brains. People thought we were kind of nuts, you know, like they're as if they had seen God in the neighborhood. And the thing is, we thought, okay, guys, let's do it. What we are doing every week, let's do it for other people. EU has been helping us money-wise for that, to create a think tank, putting writers and researchers around the table. And we do that every year. We film it, and we broadcast it on YouTube so that people, writers, producers, researchers, people from every angle that can be plugged into this thinking in terms of why do we need stories as humans? What function does it has? Is it that useful? Yes, today. Also, okay, once we know it's useful and how it is useful, and the writers sometimes, they write, and they don't carry the weight of how it is useful and why it is useful and how they feed humans. They're just delivering a script because otherwise they don't pay the rent, right? And so for us, it's been really important to put back on the table the fact that, guys, it's not entertainment, despite what Hollywood says. It's fucking essential. We need it to just live, to breathe. We need stories. Otherwise we die. And the other thing is, okay, once we know it's useful, how do we make sure we help writers from all over the world, but Hollywood? How do we help these people generate the most interesting stories for humans today? So that's the story tank. I have to move. And so thanks to that, we've had TV people, Arte, TV2 in Denmark, I mean, and broadcasters from all over Europe, which are asking us to generate labs for new series concept. They're like, oh, you're experimenting, you have amazing methodologies, we need you for the European creativity. And so we've been moving into that, and now we're working with the European Writers Club and the Creative Connection. It's like the big systems of collaboration in Europe to enhance European creativity for series, in order to stop being completely just the victims of American domination. And we're getting there. We're getting there. Yes, thanks Trump, because it making it very obvious that we have to wake up. And so something that is also no, I have to go forward. So a few films. I don't want to spend time on some of the films that you might have seen recently, like Grand Prize in Venice from Vietnam. Some of them. So it's become crazy, like more than 60 films coming out of our place, coached with us, have been selected in A-list festivals, Cannes, Venice, Berlin, Sundance, blah, blah, which is huge, huh? Because it's not that easy to be selected in these places. And so it means that now we have even at the beginning, we were like, oh, it's for green writers, you know, the oldest were like, oh. And now all the old ones, all the over 60 years old writers that have been delivering masterpieces, they come to us saying, can we work with you? And so the good thing is that the new generation is so much into collaboration that we don't have to tell them how beautiful it is to work together, and to not to do everybody the same thing, to be each of us the guardian that each in the group is going to go as far as possible in its own singularity and strength. So I don't need to tell you that. So it's more than that now. International script consultants, and we are coaching new consultants all the time. And every time when we see a writer who's very generous with the others, gifted and generous, we're like, we need you as a coach. And we train them. So it's a constant regeneration thing. And we have constantly new waves of new brains that regenerate the whole cycle. And as soon as there's a coach who's not completely joyful, it's like, bye-bye. So yes, and everything is debriefed with the core team because we have to make sure something that has been, last week there was a guy inventing a way to work on characters thanks to Russian dolls. What the fuck, Russian dolls too? And they discovered it, like before coming here, was like, wow, Russian dolls, yes. So, what I mean by that is that there's not one way, you know, it's a constant regeneration system. So yes, constant iteration. Story time, I go quick on this. This started like this, and this is maybe, you know, Atik Rahimi, Prix Goncourt from Afghanistan, one of our big brothers. Here you have, maybe you know this guy up there, Tony Grisoni, one of our best coaches who was screenwriter for Terry Gilliam. And Vinka Wiedemann, screenwriter for Lars von Trier and all the Danish wave, Germans. And so these are one of the very best. Fuck. No, interesting. It's a Lebanese researcher in brain science. You know her maybe? Sama Karaki? No? She's a fantastic researcher in neuroscience. Side by side with probably the best living German screenwriter, Jan Schomburg. So that's what we do all the time. So for screenwriters, a lot of you will find in what I'm going to say things that are obvious for you, but for screenwriters, this is not obvious. So the obstacles to a healthy development of a story, which most of the time is delivered through writing text, you know, as if generating an idea was equivalent to generating a paragraph, which of course is bullshit. The obstacles to a healthy development. First of all, very clearly, we've been coaching more than, nearly 3,000 writers for now. It's a lot. But it's very clear now that even very gifted people, everybody loses track in the writing process. Because you're like this, in your own material. Look at when you write a PhD. So it drives you nuts. So how do you do to look at what you're doing with a bit of a overview? That's not easy. So that for us has been pushing us to rethink. So, and also, yes, of course, when you write, how do you generate fields of possibilities when you write? You cannot. So before making sure that option is the best, you have to be able to compare it to others. How do you do that when you write? And so the other thing is that often you have people that become screenwriters that used to be good students because they know how to write. They don't make a difference between generating ideas and generating words, which is a trouble. So it means that often scripts, even written by people that are really in the business, that have been working 20 years, that earn a good salary, they deliver stuff that are, it's like, come on, you're not the school kid. You're here to amaze us. So yes, so inside the writer's shoes, it is clear the writing phase creates a blind spot. It's very hard. Once it's like, you know, the thing with the virgin snow. Huh? When you write, it's like you create footsteps in the snow. And when you have your clean shoes, and when you want to go into the snow, what do you do? New track, or you use the already, the holes in the snow? You use the holes. And that's the problem. So, yeah. It is very difficult, as you all know, especially you guys. I'm sorry to tell you things that you already know. But for us, it's been a discovery. We, as humans, are homogeneous machines. Good ideas, if I go to we were talking about Deleuze yesterday night, one of the very interesting lessons from Deleuze way of thinking about generation of ideas is that you only generate a good idea. A good idea is always the combination of at least two heterogeneous sources. How do you generate heterogeneous sources from a homogeneous source? Not easy. So because of that, we came up with the idea that we had to develop a new art form that now we try to impose to the institutions of cinema in Europe. It's like, let's stop talking about writing and confusing writing and conceiving. Writing is going to be some step at the end, but we call it pre-writing so that people understand in the institutions, right? It comes before, guys. We want it to be 80% of the job, and we would like people to be paid for that 80% of the job, which is not written. Because the institutions pay screenwriters and the producers according to the number of pages. So pre-writing started like 12 years ago for us, and it's more architecturing ideas more than writing. And the idea for us is that the writing phase should be just the last 20%. So you write once you have found, instead of writing in order to find. Yeah. And so the thing for us has become, and it is a source of joy, as you all know. Yes. Multiplying possibilities. So it's not like making sure every step I do is the truth. No, truth doesn't exist anyway. So it's like, guys, let's juggle with possibilities. And that is so exciting as a game, because then being a screenwriter means every day it's going to be, jokes and that. It's like, what if this, what if that, and then and so it also means that we have to find ways. You know that by heart more than I do. It's the fact that playfulness has to be the center. That for screenwriters is a complete revolution, because especially the French, it's like writing means suffering. And when we come with the idea that, guys, you can have fun every single day of your life, they're like, what the fuck? And so the tools, the way, creating a sharing space, that's the first thing, of course. Because if you want to generate heterogeneous sources, it means that the other becomes a source, because the other brain is so different than your brain that the other is a source of, that's the way you see it. Among the stuff that we do very often, I'm checking the time, it's okay. Among the stuff that we do very often is we ask somebody to tell us a story. I mean, a story that he or she is working on. Or at least begin the story, who cares? Or take us into the place of the story. We have many ways to take it. And then we ask 5 other writers, or 6, or 11, or how many, it depends on how many they are. Let's say 4 or 5, standing up and drawing what this oral story generates in their brains. Tell us, we don't care if you don't draw well, it's just give us a map of what you see in your head. The interesting thing, as you know, is that there's not 2 among these that will draw the same thing. And it's the same bloody source. Yeah. So for the writer, it's like, I am, with my story, generating all of that. Yeah. So it means that already is a source of heterogeneity. Because it's like, you see it underground. Oh my God. My story could be underground. And so, which is why creating a safe space between humans, which is a game that all of you do often, and that's for screenwriters. It doesn't sound like it. for screenwriters, it's a revolution. Because screenwriters are supposed to be, especially when they win awards, you know, they come like, I won the Golden Palm in Cannes, and it's impossible to talk to them. Here, they need to talk. It's like if you don't want to talk, if you don't want to exchange, there's no way we can do anything with you. And so, yes, so oral storytelling has become, of course, a key thing. Sounds obvious. Again, oral storytelling has been in complete decline in the Western world and all over the planet, by the way, thanks to us. Even Africans have been reducing their ability to generate oral stories because they feel it's not modernity. So that's, I don't know if you recognize him, a guy from Flanders, fantastic guy, Grand Prize in Cannes with that film. The idea has been to every day ask writers, with all the stuff that happened during the day, tell us at night, sometimes they do it until 2 in the morning, tell us in front of your iPhone, tell us how you would retell it. And of course, orally, you cannot tell the story twice the same way. That's the good thing. As opposed to the written thing where copy and paste is the big trouble. Here, even if you want to tell it twice the same, you cannot. If you don't read, of course. And so every day we see what physiologically is generated by every new oral attempt. And every time there's something which is astonishing, a new discovery, a jump forward, you have the people around in the room are testing boards. They're like, so they're supposed to jump on the guy. It's like, come on, look at this. And so, of course, the idea being to supposedly amaze spectators, if you have these pre-spectators amazed already, it's not a bad sign. And so that was the first. That's even to show you how we call it the tell me in English, which is raconte-moi in French. It's closer to what we feel, but I don't know how to translate it in English properly, apart from tell me, which is not really. That's a guy from, he's a huge star for series, as a series writer in Denmark. And so the guy is such an amazing guy. He decided, instead of doing it at night for the next day, he decided to do it very early in the morning. He had his iPhone like this, and he came out of water, flush. And of course, that simple idea, not that simple because the water is very cold there, it created the fact that the way he was telling it was extraordinary. So it means that you have to find ways so that the physical, you find a chemistry, a new connection with the world in order to tell it anew. So that's the game. Then the other thing is playing with group dynamics, changing number. You don't function the same in the brainstorming phase, in exciting the other brain. When you're 2, when you're 4, when you're 3 minutes? Yeah. Fuck.
No, but you can have longer. You were just
okay. Yeah. Thank you.
I'll just keep putting random things down.
So that's I showed you the big number, that the smaller number, and then one day we discovered that okay, we can expand. You know, oral storytelling is one thing, but then we call it rhizomatic. Yeah. You know, coming from rhizome theory, but coming also from Atik Rahimi, our Afghani friend who's been working with it a lot, and working with this, the name of this theater, metteur en scène, I will find it. And so it's through keywords, automatic association, finding how subconscious activity from the writer can provoke associations that are opening doors into possibilities for scenes, for character evolution, for whatever. So what has become very important for us has been stimulating design phases. Because when we were working on with orality as a big pillar, the oral tool is fantastic. I mean, it's like we are storytelling machines with orality, and we are not storytelling machines with written elaboration. That's crazy. But it is very clear that you cannot show everything in the oral thing. Which is why cavemen were drawing on the walls. You know, it was a storytelling tool to complementing the oral injection of story with painting on the walls and rocks so it became really important for us. We tested it, and it was so interesting to use huge boards and let writers draw. It's funny because there's a very famous writer that in a workshop with us, it was years ago, he was like, I'm not going to draw. This is not my job. I'm sorry, it's not my job. I'm a writer. And the funny thing, the same guy, the last day of the workshop, he was like, guy, it's a revolution for my head. It's crazy. And that is, I'm sure you know this, you know, the fact that it's really interesting. How do ideas come out? For us, that's at the center of our research. What does it mean to generate an idea? And how does it manifest itself? So these are writers. I like it. When you want to discuss about the sensations you have around the project, when you want to generate something around your own, etc., the drawing elements are key for us. So it means that we work... we work with colors, with scissors. We are kids at school, you know. It looks unserious, but very quickly the writers are like, oh my God. And every project generates its own mapping system, mixing orality and drawings and mapping. Again, sounds easy, but because of course that is a map which is not, it doesn't have any meaning for somebody who discovers it. Yeah? You know, it's like a map of, it's not even a map, it's nothing. It's just pictures and drawings. But when you have the writers, this guy wrote En Thérapie, a big hit in France on Arte as a series. The guy in front of he is the one that said, I will never draw. I will never. And he came out like, now he draws every day. It's funny. And he speaks with his hands. He's a guy from the South. And he himself in front of the board. It's like so joyful. Because, of course, when you tell a story to people with nothing around you, when you have your map, it's like, look at this and this character and this. And one day he came. And so it's really, it changes everything because it feeds you. It feeds you. And then because it feeds you, you feed them. That guy, he destroyed me. Me, the character. And then you see, every time you see the picture, you're going to see the guy who destroyed him. Well, okay, I have to accelerate. So that you know by heart, but I want to tell you that for us, rhizome theory has been absolutely fantastic because we think with archetypes and the reality, the real flesh of the world of that archetype is closer to that. Okay? That's the first way to look at this rhizome thing. And of course, you know that drawing, I believe, for those that are into Deleuze, we work within this all the time. It's like we try to make this drawing an art form for us. It's like every possible interpretation of that drawing for us, we use it. So, and for us, 1,000 Plateaus by Deleuze and Guattari is like, sorry, but it's crazy how, whatever page, you take it, you open the book, and 5 minutes after, it's like, what the fuck? So populating the brain is the big thing, of course. But it can be with everything. Everything. That's the most crazy thing for us, for screenwriters, because screenwriters have to do that for a business, you know? They have to generate ideas every single day of their life. So that's heavy to carry. If you think that, like the romantics, it comes from your connection with transcendence. You know, you have to suffer a lot in front of the sea or in the woods, alone in your room, dirty, preferably. And here it's guys, it can be so joyful. So what we did after the boards, we decided that, okay, if we want to do that, populate the brain as much as possible, generate collisions between possibilities, stimulate possibilities, we have to maybe use a spatial dynamics. Boards are not enough. So we've been trying that. So there's sand of the local beach in the pot, and just stupid poles in wood, and then ropes. And we tried with AI images, with keywords, and we tested this volume compared to flat surface. And the difference was, we didn't know why. It's afterwards that researchers in the field of spatial cognition, etc., have been like telling us, yeah, of course, but we didn't know. So the funny thing is that we were like, okay, oh yeah, the thing is that it not only has been an accelerator of creativity, spatial cognition, but also it's been an accelerator of collaboration. I remember a British writer coming to us. We did a test with European writers coming from all over Europe. And there was a British writer that didn't tell me before coming to the workshop in Brittany that he had a brain injury and he was severely damaged. He could barely speak. And normally the guy is the most talkative guy. And there was a German writer, super huge charisma and a bit brutal psychologically. And we've been putting them together in a group of 3 writers. And it was, and the poor guy that could barely speak didn't dare to exist in front of the huge guy. And so he was using a corner of the space and small drawings, not daring to exist. And then the funny thing is that at one point, the German writer is very clever. He came to the little guy, not even thinking he would find anything interesting, and he found, what's that? And then that was the fucking main character of the whole series that was created by the guy that was, so yeah. So it's interesting because we discovered that space generates a much more interesting collaborative space. It allows collaboration instead of allowing power games. So then we came up with the idea, we did, it's funny because we did with local craftsmen of the village, we generated a 2-day workshop of reflection in order to find the right spatial object that would help us generate brainstorming in space. And we paid them for 2 days of brainstorming. After 20 minutes, the 2 craftsmen came to us saying, guys, you mean you're asking us to generate a greenhouse that you see all over the place in the fields? So if you want, we can buy one and we will test it. And so it was 2 hours later, it was done. Huh? And so it created the first experiment that we did. I'm going to show it to you quick because we don't have... that's just to show you with AI images, keywords, no. That's just to show you the principle. You know how it works, I believe. But so it was like populating, first phase, populating. Whatever can help the thing grow. And that's one way to do it. You could do it 200 ways. And then, if there's not too much time, I will just tell you the following. I have what, 2 minutes?
Yes.
Okay. Fuck.
You wanted questions. You have 6 minutes entirely until the coffee break, so you can choose how to use those 6 minutes yourself.
Okay. So now I'm going to tell you. So first phase was let's populate the greenhouse. We called it the cave because we were kind of Plato want us to get rid of the cave and look for ideas outside, pure ideas. And we're like, no, ideas are among us. So it was the joy of the cave. Maybe we will call it the greenhouse in the future. We have a project for which we think that greenhouse maybe is more green. And so phase one, populate. You put things all over the place. It can be even socks. It can be whatever you want. We are working on objects that generate sound also, so that there can be, you knock on the object and there's one sound coming out of it, so that it populates the space with sound. So you can play with the smells, etc. And then phase two, the other images I wanted to show you on another. You cover it with a black cloth, une couverture noire, cloth, black cloth, yeah. And you put it in complete darkness, and then you open the lamp on the forehead, clack. And you become a speleologist in the field of ideas. And then you can do it once, and you can record it if you want with your iPhone. See what trajectories are possible within that world. You do it once, you can do it 10 times, you do it as much as you want, until you discover that, fuck yes, I found the path. I found the connections. So we work a lot with wool, so that we connect ideas spatially between them. Causality, chronology, association, whatever you want, you associate ideas between themselves. And so that's just one way to use it. It can be used 200 ways. And then what we did just after that, we were like, okay, we're going to have a few researchers coming to our next workshop. It was last November. That is using sight, the greenhouse, sight as a key cognitive tool, and body in movement in space. Let's say these are the two main legs. Maybe you will invent others. But then the idea was like, what if we get rid of sight and we get rid of body in movement in space? We called it the black room. The black room is a space where we put the writers in complete darkness, and we put their bodies on, how do you say, beanbag, so that they cannot move the body, and then we introduce sounds. We are working on what sounds is the question, what sound you inject. And you see how the ideas are generated through complete other channel than what we did the first place. And then we have other stuff to talk about, but we discovered that the first one, the greenhouse, is maybe closer to what you can call horizontal connections, horizontal research about story connections, and the black room was creating the opposite, which is a vertical digging system into the story. And sometimes we've had, because now we were supposed to use it only in 26 with writers, but we couldn't resist. And we see writers, and they put themselves in the shoes of the character. And it's not psychoanalysis. I mean, not really psychoanalysis, a bit. So they reach emotions that are completely, for them, like, I didn't know I had that in me. It's weird. So and then it comes close to, I don't know, you're going to tell me. It's close to trance of some kind. It's close to maybe shamanic practices. It's close to stuff that we as screenwriters never use, but we want to explore. So I think I stop.
Thank you so much for showing us some of that.